Okay, so now that Joe Biden's out of the race and Kamala Harris looks like she is going to be the presumptive nominee, and we have some decisions to make. I know I couldn't have voted for Joe Biden because he's actively committing genocide. As the vice president, I do not believe she had much power in the way of swaying him away from that. But I look forward to hearing about her plans for that. I hope she at least broaches it, because if she doesn't broach it, I think that's going to be a major mistake on her part. It is reported that she's going to be meeting with Rashida Tlaib, and I think that's great, because Rashida Tlaib has, firsthand knowledge of the problems in Palestine, and she has been talking about this for over a decade. Well, I didn't know about her a decade ago, so she's been talking about it as long as I know, longer than a decade, but I've been watching her for about a decade, I think now, or at least 6 years. I can't remember when she got first elected, but I really hope that she is able to make an impact upon Kamala Harris and gets her to agree to some things, right? We really need to be better about this, because we can both be good on that front and be good to our own people. And I know there's people out there that want a revolution, and they want to revolt, and they want to walk away from this entire empire, if you will. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do respect it. So those people, I respect their opinions on that. I won't be operating that way, but I certainly understand where they're probably coming from. And honestly, if Joe Biden had stayed in the race, I was with them, because knowing that Joe Biden was going to lose was my biggest problem as well. He wasn't going to win. So Trump was going to win. And so in my mind, it was going to push people to the brink. And when people are pushed to the brink, they are more apt to do revolutionary type things. But I say that and think there's a different way you can do revolutionary or do revolution, right? It doesn't have to be a dangerous or necessarily a violent thing. I think we can do it with words as well. Hear me out. So I've been watching a lot of philosophy videos lately, and something I didn't really ever take in school. I made it to 10th grade in high school. I dropped out. I ended up getting my GED when I was about 21 years old. I did go to college at Everett Community College, and I ended up getting an associate's in general studies. And so I have an associate's in general studies. That's my education. But I have since kept learning online, and the internet is so robust now. You can basically learn the equivalent of a doctoral degree from the internet these days, I swear to God. But I mean, I'm obviously embellishing a bit, but you can find so much. There's so much about all different kinds of subjects, and if you're intellectually curious, there's a channel for you, right? And I empower everyone to do that, to start learning things that we don't know, right? So if you don't know a lot about physics, I encourage you to learn more about physics. Learn more about a lot of things, because that, I think that helps people kind of broaden their minds and to be able to use information from like one discipline and see how it translates over to another. I don't have a good example for you right now, but I think it's important to, I don't even know how to say this in a way that's gonna be articulated well. That's a problem sometimes I have. I can't always articulate exactly what I mean, but I just think the more we broaden our minds on what we know, the better off we are. And I mean all kinds of things, right? Look up statistics, look up mortality rates in your state, your county, the country you live in, whatever. Look up your mortality rates, see who's affected the most, and try to understand what we can do to make that better. Now, that's just an example. That's just an example. I'm not saying that that's gonna fix everything, because it won't, but I think if we come at it from a perspective that is based on knowledge, then we will end up in a better place, right? We know that if you are somebody that is a progressive, then you probably already know, but if you don't, I'm going to explain. If you probably know that policing of Black communities, Black, Indigenous, people of color, and any other minority group, the way they're policed is very different than the way my shade is policed, right? So do we die at the hands of cops? Absolutely. But do we die at the same rate as, like, let's say Black people? No. They are targeted, and they receive the brunt of racism at alarming rates, and we need to keep talking about that even after the election. I do think Kamala Harris will win this election. I really do think she will, and I'm really glad that she will. And I'm sure, but I'm not positive, not 100%. I want to see what she's. I want to see, like, I want to support her, but I need some information from her first before I can really be, like, all in. And I think Gaza's an important thing. You know, if you are, it's important that we are not complicit and apathetic to what's happening over in the Middle East, because we're funding it. You know, us, Canada, Germany, the UK, we're all funding this. And I think that is taking a toll on the citizens that care about the fact that we are doing this. There needs to be better things for people that are protesting. They shouldn't be taken to jail. I mean, if it's your a right to protest, then you shouldn't be taken to jail if you are peaceful. And I've seen people on TikTok that were perfectly peaceful, and they were carted away, but they weren't doing anything. They weren't breaking a law. They were sometimes on public property, and they were still carted away. And I think that's unfortunate that we're okay with that, and we need to not be okay with that. And I don't mean, if you're on the right, I know you don't care about protesting, unless it's you protesting and it's, you know, some smotsy thing going on, and that's really gross. And we need to, if we see that happening and you look like me, you need to say something. You need to do something. You can't just see, oh, look at those crazy people. No, you need to say, no, stop doing this. We need to make it harder for people to be racist, for people to be sexist, not easier, right? It is our First Amendment right to have hate speech, but it is not, that's for the government. The government can't silence you. Private companies can, and we can as citizens. I think we need to make a stand. And I'm talking about people that look like me. We don't usually, I mean, there's some of us that do, but not always. The majority of the activists that I see online or even out on TV or whatnot that are activists against racial profiling, of that, they're always a person of color, almost always, you know, Black or sometimes Indigenous. But we need people that look like us to also be activists for them, not in a white savior way. Don't do that. That's gross. But we need to be like, no, this is not okay. This is not okay, because we are like 65% of this country. And since we are the majority of this country, but they were the global minority, We are not the majority of the world, because that would be everyone else. Everyone else is the global majority. We are the global minority, and we need to keep that in check. We need to realize that and remember that. And also, I want to say this. I personally will not tell you who to vote for. That's not my job. It is, in fact, I think it's immoral of me to tell you who to vote for. I think it's an immoral thing. That's my own opinion, because I don't know what's going on with you. I'm not going to guilt you. I'm not going to try to shame you to vote for the person I want you to vote for, because that takes away your agency, and I don't want to do that to you. So if you look like me and you're trying to do that to other people, don't. Please stop. If you're trying not to take away people's agency, because it's important that they get to vote the way they want to vote. Now, if someone comes to you and say, hey, help me with this decision, that's different. But online and someone's like, I'm voting for blah, 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 and you're like, you are stupid. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's a problem, right? We need to stop harassing people, telling people what they need to do with their lives. They're adults. Let them decide. That's their decision. It's not your job to tell them what to do. It is those politicians' job to earn their vote. And I 100% believe in that. And nothing opened my eyes to that reality more than Joe Biden. So I'll thank him for that, right? By being as awful as he was about Gaza, I didn't give two shits about anything good he could have done because of all the bad he was doing. You know, and I don't want that to be Kamala as well. You know, I don't want us to be like, yeah, fuck her because she is still supporting genocide. You know, I want her to be better than that. I think she is better than that. And I really hope that she can come through that kind of strength, because that is what we need from our leaders right now. Strength against things like that. Be like, no, we are not okay with that. We are not okay with you funding, abetting, lying for, and what do you call it? And giving weapons to a genocidal maniac. Because let's be real, BB is a genocidal maniac, and he's coming to a dual session of Congress, I think on the 24th, so it's like 2 days away from today. I will be watching it because I'm going to report on it. But I think it's going to be interesting. I really hope. See, oh, you know what? Let me just tell you my little fantasy. So my little fantasy world, it's a complete fantasy that Biden will arrest Netanyahu. It's not going to happen, but that would, well, I mean, not him himself, but get people to arrest him. But that would be fucking amazing, because he's not going to win. He doesn't have to worry about AIPAC money anymore. He's not going to run for another office ever again. I mean, really. He's rich. He's fine. Bro doesn't need nothing else. Bro's fine. He's going to be just fucking fine. So he could totally shake shit up on his way out. And I totally hope he does that. That would be amazing. Say, you know what, fuck it. BB, you don't get any more money. Like, make it easier for Kamala not to have to do that. You know, if the money's already like, we're not doing that, international law. You know, if he were to do that for her, that would be big for her. Because that means she doesn't have to do that. And she can be like, you know, I'm just going to keep what Biden had, you know, and she can kind of play it that way instead and not fund a genocide anymore. And we can be happier about that. And then we can work on domestic shit, stuff that we need from the government, you know, like not fucking us over on price gouging, because that's still a very real problem for most of us. I did watch her speech today that she had in Wisconsin, and I think it was pretty good. I don't think it was poor, or I don't think she did a bad job. I think she showed strength. I She didn't touch on Gaza at all, so I didn't like that. She did touch on abortion. She touched on, all the major talking points that Biden was talking about as well, which I expect her to still have a lot of those same talking points because, they're good. They are good talking points. They are good things to run on, right? I'm looking at her. I know she has a record, and there's a woman I follow on Threads. I can't remember her name, but she had made a really good point about, it's people during the 90s and the zeros, right? When she was a prosecutor and an attorney general. And during that time, they were tough on crime. I remember that. I remember watching, the news during then, and it was just kind of gross, right? That's when, Hillary Clinton came out and talked about these people are animals or something like that. And she's talking about the Black community, pretty racist on her part. But I know that people have this thing against Kamala because she was a prosecutor during that time. And I mean, I think about her being not only just being a woman, because I know what it's like to be a woman in a male dominated space, right? I've been there a few times, not for very long, but I've been there, right? And it sucks. It sucks. It's misogynistic. It fucking sucks. It just does. But I do not understand and will never understand what it's like to be a Black woman, a Black and South Asian descent woman in male white cis dominated spaces. So I have no idea what kind of pressure that breeds. I'm sure it's not easy, right? You have to compete with those people. And if you try to be very different than them, you just don't go anywhere. So it's like, did she give up her career, and not try to make a difference? And I think she has tried. I do believe she has tried to make a difference. Has she? I don't know. We need to really kind of look back into her history a bit more, but I do feel she's going to be a better candidate. I do feel she's going to be a better president overall, if she continues with strength. Because if she falters, I mean, first, picking her VP is going to give us a kind of a good idea of where she's going, right? So if she picks a woman, that projects strength to me. If she picks a white man, please don't be, I forgot his first name, but his last name is Shapiro. He's a Zionist. And I think if she were to pick him, that's going to be a huge problem for her. But if she picks someone she's not progressive, but she's more progressive than Biden, okay? But she's not by any means Bernie Sanders, right? But if she picks someone that's more progressive than her, which isn't too hard to do, then that tells me she wants to go in a different direction with this country. That she wants to push it a little bit further to the left, which is good, because further to the right is super bad. Just super bad. So we'll see what happens, right? I'm not 100% behind her. I'm intrigued. I'm excited. Finally excited about the election cycle. I haven't been excited in over a decade to vote. But I really hope that she delivers on some key issues that a lot of us had some problems. She has re-energized the younger people. Is it Gen Z at the bottom right now? I mean, not the bottom, but you know what I mean? The old enough to vote. I know Alpha's not, but at least I don't think so. But the younger generation that is old enough to vote is been re-energized. I see not all Black women, obviously, because, Black women women in general are not a monolith. No one race, no one group of people are a monolith, right? No one is. Yeah, young people too. I'm sure there's a bunch of young people that don't care about her at all. But there are some young people that are reinvigorated. There are some Black people that are reinvigorated. There's some Black women, Black men I've seen online that are reinvigorated. Some, and I kind of hope that happens. That continues to happen, because she just puts out good policy, right? And she's like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do this, and this is how I'm gonna do it, because that's gonna be important too. She needs to tell us how she's gonna do it. Like, I'm gonna give you back row. Well, how? You need to lay out something. Now, it's gonna be important that down ballot's gonna be very, very important if she wins, because we want to have a majority in the House and in the Senate, and I really hope that she has the cojones to get rid of the filibuster. That shit it's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. So that would be a good step forward. It makes it easier to get legislation passed. And that would be great. And we would just need Congress to do it. So, but if we could get a supermajority in both, that would be amazing. And then we don't have much to worry about. And still, even if we do get a supermajority, still get rid of the filibuster, because that shit's bullshit. And if the Republicans ever get back in power, let's make that humanly impossible for them to get back into power. If they do somehow weasel their way back into power, it'll only be because Kamala failed. That will be it. If they get back in power, that will be because Kamala failed as a president. And I'm really hoping that won't be the case. But it's a possibility. We don't know yet. We don't know. So if she does well, then she'll probably run for re-election and probably win. Especially if she gets a lot of stuff passed. And I know they keep saying Biden has done more than most presidents in the modern era. He only got to do like 15%. So 85% of his agenda he did not do. 85%. That's a low bar. That bar needs to be raised quite a bit. We need to try to get our elected officials to not drag their feet and to hold their feet to the fire. And that is going to be the only real way, I think, to reshape the Democratic Party. I believe it can be reshaped. I believe the country can be reshaped. I believe the country can be more ethical if we push for the right people in office. I do believe that. I'm not sure if it will work. I mean, I believe it could work, but I'm not sure if it will work. You know what I'm saying? I think there's still a plausible reason. I know there's a lot of people that have given up, and that's fair for them. Like I was talking about earlier, the revolutionists that want revolution right this second. And I don't begrudge them, because they've probably paid much higher prices than I have ever paid in this kind of a society. So I can't crap on them for that, right? And I do respect their opinions on it. I just don't have to share it necessarily. And I do a little bit, but I don't hold as much as they do, if that makes any sense. Yeah, this is going to be a me rambling type video. So if you don't like these videos, you're not going to like this video, and that's fine. But I think they're interesting to see what people think and to really understand what people are thinking right now. And I want to do more of these. So hopefully it performs well. If it performs well, then I can do more of these. And maybe I'll just do more of them anyway, even if it doesn't perform well. We'll see what happens. Anyway, I think that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Let me know in the comments down below, good, bad, or otherwise. If you're a Trump supporter, leave me your let me know what you think. If you're a Kamala Harris supporter, let me know what you think. And if you are one of the revolutionists, cool, let me know what you think. Anywhere in the spectrum of the political spectrum, let me know where you're at. And I would love it if you put more than like a word or two. Really talk about what you are really going through or what you're feeling right now about what's going on. I think that would be important for other people to read, because I know I read comments and a lot of other people read comments on other videos, and I always glean something out of it when I read somebody else's comment. I do like seeing other people's perspectives, because it helps you shape your own perspective over time. And I really believe that, because majority of the way I feel now were shaped by people I didn't even know, right? It was shaped by people online that I would never have normally met. And because I watched their videos, saw their TikTok, and watched many of their TikToks, I could understand where they're coming from, and it shaped my views. And I think that's a good thing. And I think we need to do that more. We need to listen to people we don't normally listen to, we wouldn't normally have access to, because the internet is a fucking wonderful thing. And we need to use it to our advantage, because we really need to make things better for all of us. And if we can make things better here for us, then we can concentrate on making things better for other people in other places more. We can do both. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.